Hey guys, welcome back. So today I said I was going to be talking about my Pokemon Tomy figures, but I decided that I wanted to talk about something that was more all-encompassing with Pokemon. I figure most of you came from the Pokemon videos, so I kind of wanted to go over some of my Pokemon merchandise in general before maybe doing a more in-depth review on each individual one. Alright, so we'll go over my Tomy figures first. We'll start off with this Electabuzz here. Now I think Electabuzz is a really cool Pokemon, and that's why I got this figure here. And as you can see, these Tomy figures have a small Pokedex in the back. These are the Aldi Tomy figures. Looks like it's all in kanji. Can't read it. Here's another one of my favorites, this Pikachu here. Being the mascot of the franchise, how could you not like Pikachu, right? I think he has the same back. The back of his card? Oh no. He's got a different Pokemon, a lot cooler Pokemon on the back of his card. Now this is an example of a Tomy figure that did not hold up too well with age. And as you can see, the plastic is brown, and you may be wondering why that is, and it's actually because the plastic is broken. The seal to the card has been broken, and therefore oxygen was able to oxidize the plastic. But it's still a cool figure, you know. I've thought about taking it out of the packaging, but I don't know if I'm gonna. A lot of Star Wars cards are still worth money when the bubble is on the packaging, even if it has a cracked bubble, which will devalue it, because as I explained before, it oxidizes the plastic. But I think I would just rather keep it on the card. Mew here is also one of my favorite Pokemon. I think the reason why is because he's featured a lot in Pokemon the first movie, and as I've said before, I watched that movie a ton when I was a kid. And Mew has always been a very ominous Pokemon because of the way that you get him in Pokemon Gen 1. I remember when I was a little kid, you would always hear rumors about how Mew is under the truck that you can get to if you do the surf glitch by the SS Anne. And so I always thought that that was really weird, that Mew was like something that wasn't in the game, that was just a bunch of rumors. But then when I eventually found out how to hex him into the game, that was incredible. So I think that's also why Mew is one of my favorite Pokemon as well, and why I have him as a Tomy figure. Mewtwo is the exact same situation. He's featured a lot in Pokemon the first movie, and he's really cool in that movie. And he's also really ominous in Pokemon Gen 1, the game. Because not only is he in the Cerulean Cave, but you have to get him after you beat the Elite Four. And there's always that guy standing there like, oh, can't come in here. Just a classic Pokemon move. Scyther here is also another one of my favorite Pokemon. And he's cool because, as you can see, he comes with a Pokeball. And that's actually kind of weird because at this point, in Gen 1, you could only get Scyther in the Safari Zone. So he should come with a Safari Ball, but I understand they want to package it with a Pokeball. It's like one of the logos for Pokemon. Another thing that's interesting to note about this Scyther is that he still has the punch hole in the card. Now that's actually something that can increase the value of a carded figure. The term for this in collecting, actually, when this hole is filled in, is called an unpunched card. So this is an unpunched carded figure. Alright, here we have Charizard. Now, as you can see, Charizard is also unpunched, but the thing about this Charizard is that there's stickers on his card. And what's interesting is that they used a picture of a different figure when I bought this on eBay, so it didn't have stickers on the card. At some point, I may actually do a video on how to remove stickers from a carded figure, and I would most likely use this figure for that example. The fact that this card is unpunched isn't really as important as this Scyther or the next Pokemon that I'm going to talk about, because the packaging is a lot more damaged on this. I mean, for example, the bubble is dented. Another thing is it has the stickers, but it also is a little bit bent around the edges. And so is the Scyther, but it's more warped. The Scyther is warped. This has more creases and frays. This Blastoise is a very nice example. It's not mint on the card, but it's near mint. There's maybe slight fraying on this bottom left corner, but everything else is fully intact. There's no stickers on the card. There's a little bit of a mark where a sticker may have been removed. That's why it's not mint, but it's very close. It may not even be near mint, but it's very close. And the packaging in general is just in very good condition. And, as you can see, this Blastoise here is also unpunched. So this may actually be my best condition figure. I mean, not only best condition, but best value because of it being unpunched. And not to mention that he's a Gen 1 final evolution of a starter, and those are very desirable Pokemon. In cards, figures, everything. I also have this Ash and Misty set, and although I do prefer the red timeline in Pokemon, I do also like Pokemon the anime timeline as well, or the Ash timeline. Here's a triple set of Pikachu Tomy figures that I picked up when I was younger at my local comic book and collectibles shop. I think they're pretty sweet. My favorite one is this one right here, doing the peace out pose. Check that out. My second favorite is the one doing the Thundershock pose. Also sweet. Curious pose one is pretty cool too, but my least favorite out of the three. And here's Nidoking. Like I've said before, I love Nidoking, mainly because he was the main Pokemon that I used the first time I played all the way through Pokemon. So I have a strong nostalgic connection to Nidoking. Now we'll move on to the plushes. Now, the two plushes that I have actually are tagged. So that's just a bonus right there. Not only does this Blastoise have the front tag, but it also has the hanger tag. I actually really love this Blastoise. My friend Grant actually used to have one just like this. I always remember I really like the guns in Blastoise. That's why Blastoise is one of my favorite starter final evolutions, is because he has the guns coming out of his shell. Just super cool. And that tag is pretty beat up, but it still adds value to the plush. And the other vintage Pokemon plush that I have here is Pikachu. And this Pikachu is also tagged. And his tag actually opens up, which is cool. We can actually kind of take a look at what it's got in there. It's just kind of a description of Pikachu and his number. Pretty sweet. This one's actually supposed to be like a lanyard type thing, I think. But obviously I don't want to use it as a lanyard, A, because I don't want to have the tag come off and stuff, and B, because it's kind of a bulky lanyard if you ask me. So here I actually have a Japanese base set booster pack and booster box. This booster pack is super sweet. I think it's cooler than the base set booster pack art on the American packages because it's got way more Pokemon on there, and the shading also looks a lot more hand-drawn. For anybody who's never seen a Japanese Pokemon card, here's a quick comparison. They look pretty much the same. Obviously, the Japanese card's going to be in Japanese. This one's shadowless, that's why it's lighter, the background. But the main thing is that you'll notice that the hit points is black writing versus a red hit point font color on the American ones. But the biggest difference between the cards is on the back. If we flip the card over, you've got your regular Pokemon card back, right? But then you flip this one over, and it looks way different. Now, why would it look so different, right? But the reason why they look so different is because in Japan, a lot of people probably know this, but Pokemon is called Pocket Monsters. So the backs of the cards in Japan are going to say Pocket Monsters, but when they tried to bring Pokemon to America, or Pocket Monsters, I should say, to America, there was already a franchise called Monster in My Pocket, and they had the rights for Pocket Monster. So, what they had to do was change the name. So they came up with Pokemon. And it's pretty simple how they came to this conclusion. I mean, Pokemon is kind of a contraction of Pocket Monsters anyways. Monsters. Now this is a really interesting piece that I have. It's a wind-up Lapras model kit. And as you can see, the person at my local collectibles shop wrote, "Last one ever sample" on the box, but if so, why would he write that on the box? But I actually got it because it was a good deal for something with this cool box, with the art on it is pretty cool. I like Lapras too, and it's a little finale. And for the finale, my two Ancient Mews in the packaging still. These are how you would get them at the theater when going to see Pokemon. Unfortunately, there's this information card on the top of the Ancient Mew card, but unfortunately there's this information card on top of the Ancient Mew card, so you can't see the art of the card, but I've actually moved that card down and was able to see a little bit of it. So that's cool. One of these Ancient Mews is not the giveaway this time, but it definitely will be in a future video. Alright, so the giveaway that goes along with this video is this carded Venusaur Tomy figure. Now if you remember, this is the figure with the cracked bubble, and that's why I want to get another one, so I may as well give this one away. So the giveaway is going to work a little bit different this time. How it works is, if you haven't already talked to me about cards, send me a picture of the subscribed button, and then I'm going to give you a number, and then we're going to use a random number generator, pick a random number, and if your number is the closest to the one that I pick out of all the people who enter, then you win the Venusaur.